Hi everyone, I'm Madeline. For those of you who are new here, please subscribe down below or click the little wave in the right hand corner and click the notification bell, that way you get notified every time I upload. For today's video, I wanted to share with you guys my favorite Netflix TV shows. There were so many TV shows that I couldn't fit movies in here as well, so that's going to be a separate video, so stick around for that. But I remember when Netflix came out, I was in like 3rd grade and my mom was like telling me about this new program that would basically like ship DVDs to your house rather than going to Blockbuster and renting the DVDs. If any of you guys remember Blockbuster, I used to love going there. It was like a little experience and it was so much fun. So I first wanted to start off with the show Dear White People. I'm gonna read for you guys the little blurb that they have on Google, because sometimes I'm not really too good at explaining things and I want to make sure that I explain the TV shows as best as I can. Based on the acclaimed film of the same name, this Netflix original series follows a group of students from color at Winchester University, a predominantly white Ivy League school. Students are faced with landscapes of culture biases, social injustice, misguided activism, and slippery politics. Through the absurdist lens, the series uses irony, self-deprecation, brutal honesty, and humor to highlight issues that still plague today's post-racial society. The reason why it's called Dear White People is because the main character, Samantha, aka Sam, has a radio show at the college called Dear White People, and she basically talks about all of those issues that Black people face every single day, and especially what problems she faces as a Black woman. It's definitely a really good show and you guys should definitely check it out and please watch it. And also, one more thing, please use the links in my description to sign more petitions. Just keep signing and please donate if you can. Every little bit helps and we need to make a change, and especially a positive change. On to the next show. Since it is summertime, this is a show that is based around summertime. It is a show called Wet Hot American Summer, the first day of camp. The movie was actually made in 2001 and the movie is about the last day of camp. It has Paul Rudd, Bradley Cooper, Amy Poehler, Elizabeth Banks, and like other people that you definitely like have seen before but might not know them by name. And it's such a funny show because they shot the movie in 2001 and that was the last day of camp, and the show was filmed 15 years later and it's the first day of camp. So it's basically like these like 40-year-old actors playing the oldest people at camp as campers. It's super weird to see. Counselors and campers check in for what's billed as the summer of your life at Maine's Camp Firewood in 1981. The Netflix original is a prequel to the 2001 cult film Wet Hot American Summer and features many of the same actors portraying even younger versions of themselves than they did in the film. The TV show starts off with them like all like getting off the bus and stuff, and then like this sludge is found in the woods and they have to like save the camp because the camp is going to be taken over by this toxic sludge, and then the government gets involved and like Chris Pine is like in there too, and he's like a rocker, he's like a rock legend. It's such a crazy show and it's such a ridiculous plot, but it's so funny and you should definitely check it out, especially since it's summer themed. This next show is honestly one of my favorite shows. The show is about a realtor couple. It's with Drew Barrymore and Timothy Olyphant. He's the husband in the show. He is the actor from the episode in The Office where Meredith is trying to get one of the salesmen to sell to her.
Well, actually, no, Miss Van Helsing, that's not why I'm here. I'm here to meet you, see if we'd be a good fit.
What do you mean?
Drew Barrymore and Timothy Olyphant star in this Netflix original series as a married realtors, Sheila and Joel, who are living a quiet life raising their teenager daughter in Santa Clarita, California. Their world unexpectedly changes when Sheila goes through a dramatic transformation that sends her down a road of death and destruction, but leaves her looking and feeling better than ever. They were showing a house because they are realtors, and then she ends up throwing up all over the room and she throws up this red ball and basically dies and becomes a zombie. So the whole show is about how basically she is a zombie and them killing people, but it's in like a really funny way, if you can kill people in a funny way, because they just go from this normal, average, basic family to having to kill people. And to add on to all of it, both of their neighbors on either side of their house are a sheriff's deputy and a police officer. So it's pretty crazy that she murders and kills people and she's kind of surrounded by law enforcement. So it's super interesting and definitely check that out. This next show is called Schitt's Creek. Sitcom Schitt's Creek, a wealthy couple video store magnate Johnny and his soap opera star wife Moira suddenly find themselves completely broke, with the only remaining asset a small town called Schitt's Creek, which the Roses bought years ago as a joke. This once wealthy couple must give up the life as they know it with their 2 spoiled children and their pampered lives behind them. The Rose family is forced to face their newly found poverty head on and come together as a family to survive. So this wealthy family with their 2 children, and like their children are like in their 20s and 30s. They moved from like this huge wealthy house to this crappy ass motel in this town that they own called Schitt's Creek. And it's so funny because they're so over dramatic. The only thing that I can compare it to, it's like if the Kardashians lost everything and had to live in a motel. That's like the level of drama that they're on.
There's people that are dying.
And it's really funny, but obviously it's not real. I keep saying that all of these are my favorite show, but this show is such a good show too. This show is called No Tomorrow. There's only 1 season because it did get canceled, which is so sad because it was actually such a good show. Evie Covington appreciates order, but with her relationship running on empty and her career stalled, she is starting to think that an overly managed life has its downsides. This existential crisis leaves the perfect opening for a charming and free-spirited Xavier to waltz in and bright a fresh wave over her romance life. Just one thing: he believes the human race has only more than 8 months left before an asteroid blasts in and wipes out everyone's existence. Evie enlists the help of her friend Hank and Karima to decide whether Xavier is crazy, and maybe more importantly, if it even matters. Evie's character meets Xavier, and Xavier is trying to tell everyone, he's trying to tell NASA that there is an asteroid coming, and he's trying to warn everyone, but everyone keeps taking it as a joke. Since no one's taking him seriously and no one can prevent this asteroid from hitting Earth, he just lives his life to the fullest. So he definitely influences Evie to live her life to the fullest, since up until that point she hasn't. So it's kind of inspirational to like live your life to the fullest and just like take advantage of every single day, because you really just don't know what's gonna happen tomorrow. So they're living like it's no tomorrow, which the show is called No Tomorrow. And they have this list and they check off all these things that they want to do before the end of their life. So it's like a bucket list, but they actually try and do one either every day or every week. So it's really inspirational. It's definitely a really good show, and I would definitely check it out. This show actually also got canceled, and I just rewatched it over quarantine, and it's one of those shows that you have to pay attention to or else you'll miss every single little thing. It's called The OA, and the OA stands for The Original Angel. In addition to her role as a creator and executive producer of this mind-bending series, Britt Marling also plays the role of Prairie Johnson, a young woman who returns home after 7 years of disappearance. Her sudden return is not only a miraculous occurrence, everyone is shocked to learn that Prairie is no longer blind. What the FBI and her parents are anxious to discuss Prairie's disappearance, she won't talk about what happened during her time that she was missing. The first season is her explaining to this group of people that she kind of like meets up with in this abandoned house how she was missing, what happened to her when she was missing, and trying to get into another dimension. The person that kidnaps Prairie as a scientist and like a doctor kind of, he studies NDEs, which is near-death experiences, and Prairie and the other people that were trapped with her had near-death experiences. She was like about 20 when she was kidnapped. Each episode is like an hour long, so it's really, really well done. I wish there was a 3rd season, but there's not going to be. Regardless, please watch it because it's so good and it really makes you think. Since it is Pride Month, which is amazing, love Pride Month, I wanted to talk about this show. It's a show called Queer Eye. and it is one of my favorite shows. The season that was filmed last, which is the newest season, it just came out, was actually filmed in Philly, which I live right across from Philly, so definitely had a place in my heart. Let me just read the blurb for you guys. More than a decade of the original series went off the air. Netflix reboots the show Queer Eye franchise with a new Fab Five and a new setting trade in the concrete jungle of New York City for communities around Atlanta. The style experts forge relationships with men and women who often have different beliefs from them, leading to moments of social commentary with style advice. Advising people in need of lifestyle makeovers and food and wine specialist Anthony, interior designer Bobby, grooming consultant Jonathan, fashion designer Tan, and culture expert Karamo. They're just trying to make a difference in these people's lives and help them with either their career or just like their lifestyle choices. So it's such a good show, and I definitely recommend it. This next show I actually started watching at the beginning of quarantine, and it is so good. It's a show called Good Girls. When sisters Beth and Annie and their best friend Ruby become fed up with playing by the rules and not getting respect they deserve, they band together and take control of their lives by holding up a local grocery store. Beth's and the perfect wife and mother, but her used car dealing husband, cheating husband, has sent their family into financial ruin. Ruby is happily married to a police officer but can't afford the medical bills and experimental drugs to help her daughter. And Annie, a single mom, is caught up in a nasty custody battle with her ex. In desperate need of money, the women plan the heist, expecting to ease their financial burdens, but new to the game of crime, they get pulled in deeper than they ever imagined, and the only way out will be together. The grocery store that they actually held up, they stole all of the money, but the grocery store was actually a front for laundering money. So the guy that runs that came after them and came to their house and was like, you need to give me all my money back, like da 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 da. His character definitely is super interesting, and he adds like a certain tone to the show because he's very serious, but there's something about him that you like. So I would definitely check that show out because it gets super crazy from there, because once they're in the laundering money business, they just don't really escape it. I don't want to make this video too long, so there are some other shows that I want to recommend to you guys, but you guys have probably heard of them, so there's really no point of me explaining them. Parks and Recreation, The Office, Black Mirror, The Society, Shameless, Bates Motel, Jane the Virgin, The End of the Fucking World, You, Love, Glow, Gracie and Frankie, American Horror Story, and Stranger Things. So it's a mix of comedy, drama, and horror, but out of all of those, Parks and Rec is probably my favorite, and You is really good too. And American Horror Story. I just love all of these shows. And The Office, there's no point of explaining that because you guys all know what The Office is, and if you don't, watch it. So I really hope you guys enjoy this video, and I really hope you guys check out these shows because they're absolutely so good. And make sure you guys are subscribed and click the notification bell, that way you get notified when I upload my Netflix movie recommendations for one of my next videos. And please continue to sign petitions like I said in the beginning, and donate if you can. Please check out the links in my description as to see where I donated and all the other resources that I have linked below for you guys. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!